Project One production is actually have. That's been the question over the years. Talk about leadership problem. I could start picking the problems in Nigeria and say, oh, democracy. No, democracy is not the problem, really. There's a whole lot of educational system that we need to learn in different sectors to say, how do we make this work? That's what has distinguished other nations. Talk about Qatar, talk about nations like Singapore who moved from nothing to something. They sat down to analyze what they have. There's actually nothing happening in Nigeria that is peculiar that you have probably not seen it happen in one or two other nations in the past. So the issue of women involvement in politics all around the world are taking a whole time to progress. But for Nigerian women, what I would say is we have the major role to play. You think it is not time until you see it happening. First, we need to go for it. Nobody hands power over to anybody when we're talking about political power. And that's one of the things people in my own generation had lamented so much over. You say, oh, they told us we were the future leaders, but then we're not there. The future is there. Where's the leadership position? Nobody's going to hand it over to you. I've always been a very silent critic of any government, and that's because I believe that you do not, hardly would you find anybody going to a leadership position to go and ruin his or a name or a reputation. So I believe everybody in power is doing their best. But then the Oshiba just book, not published though, was written basically because I took interest in the office of vice president, or the second, as a woman, like you rightly said, in positions back in school, you see a woman going for the position of the vice president, the assistant secretary general. They always think it's easier to be the second person when it comes to leadership and power. So for years, I studied that position and I realized that people who had been going into the position make it look dormant, but it doesn't have to be. And I always say something I did while I was in university was to run for that particular office just to make a point. Well, I'd say one of the major problems in Nigeria that we have is more systemic, really, than the way we would want to put it. The system in Nigeria is not so different from other nations, and one of the challenges a woman will consider when it comes to joining politics or being involved in politics will be time, will be if you're coming from a patriarchal society, will be religion, will be all the other things that are surrounded uh, by, by 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 what is already on ground. But then the truth is, the system is never at any time going to be that comfortable or convenient. Because even for the men, and I get to say, the fact that you do not see a chicken sweating does not mean that the chicken might not be sweating under the feathers. So really, men don't really have to go through some hard times and keep their head up. The same thing for a woman. If you're going to have to become in Nigeria, I would say you need to go through the system. One of the things I'm doing currently, or our project one runs, we call it leadership right from the cradle. So we're trying to promote pride in national identity, pride in the nation, right from the cradle. So I go as far as the boardroom to clothe Nigerian babies, because I understand the importance of preparing people for leadership. It's not something I believe you should just walk into. It's not something that should be accidental. So to become Nigerian president, which is a dream I have for 2027, it's something I've been working towards. It's not just about the office or the position. It's about an holistic approach to changing the narrative around Nigeria. It's something I do on a daily basis. Nigeria is something, for those who know me, it's almost like water I drink on a daily basis. You want to see me light up, let's talk about Nigeria and how we can make things work better. So I would say this is one of the very great platforms, and thanks to your media organization too for being here. Yes, definitely in the next coming years we'll be more in the media. And Nigeria, really, when an idea comes up, it can spread like fire. With the 220 million Nigerians, if you're going to reach people, we've been doing more of grassroots. And I would say more of the things I've done have been more of grassroots. You probably would not see more of the social media in the past. But of course, now we're moving to the social media because there's also another target of people, an audience that we need to meet on social media. And I'll probably refer to an award that was given in 2018 and 2019, talking about 100 most influential young Nigerians. When the people like Ali Baba, people like Kenny Black were also on that list of people who came up for that, who were nominated really. And I remember in 2018 when I came 15th in Nigeria, a lot of people were like, oh, we don't know her, where's she from, how did she happen to do that? And that's because I think my strength really has been on the grassroots. Maybe not on social media, not on those places, but now these are the areas in our roadmap. We have that area covered so that before 2027, we're all out there. The things we've been doing and what we will continue to do between now and then will have the right publicity so that more people are aware, more people are informed, and in 2026 they can make a very good, an informed decision when it comes to that time. And of course, I'll be relying heavily on media. For me, it's about determination. It's about creating balances that work. I must at all times know how to balance my work so it doesn't affect my family life. And I've been, I think, opportune to also raise children. They're still young, but that understand this is mommy's goal, this is mommy's ideals. I'm also trying to raise them to be better Nigerians. So they understand the need for us at that tender age to be involved in national development. So I think it's about creating balance between your political life and then your family life. And let none suffer, really. And none really can suffer. If you're going to be the president of Nigeria, there's something I always say. It's about you. I say every nation needs a mother. You need to be a mother to so many people. You shouldn't struggle too much with raising 4 or 5 children. And then you think you can raise 220 million. Nobody is perfect, but then we're all working towards perfection. Over the years, a lot of people had said oil is a curse and not a blessing to Nigeria. Unfortunately, I beg to differ. I also happen to work in the oil and gas industry. So I have over the time deliberately worked in that sector and with a mind of how do we fix the Nigerian problem. And I would say that currently, we might be living on borrowed income. That really shouldn't be the case. because we have all it takes to within ourselves survive and run every single sector of Nigeria. I mentioned earlier when I was talking that we have a whole lot of untapped resources in Nigeria. We have over 40 solid minerals that could be generating even more than what the oil is generating in Nigeria. We even have untapped. Talk about Qatar. I know it's a smaller nation in terms of population, but how did they move from that country that was bereft, that was left alone, from there to being the richest country around? But you know what? All they did is to translate LNG, the gas that they have in the nation, to the wealth of the nation, and even export out. You know, one of the things you'll say about, and I know I keep referring to Qatar because it's one of the nations I've taken a bit of time to study. You realize that if they have the cheapest gas, really, even for the nation. But look at Nigeria. Oil and gas, or petroleum as we have it that we use in our tank, is one of the most expensive things, and it also drives a whole lot of factors. But this shouldn't be. But if you look at the system in place and the strategy in place, you import your crude oil, then you sell at a per barrel basis depending on the market rate, and then you import at a price that is higher. But that particular aspect of your nation drives a whole lot of every other prices up in terms of your transportation, in terms of even the food that people eat. So I think, in my opinion, that oil, first of all, the major resources that we have in Nigeria to even export, is supposed to be a blessing. If you're able to translate the money you're making from that into the right infrastructure, the medical sector, the educational sector, if they are solid, then you attract more income. Democracy is supposed to be government of the people, by the people and for the people. You're at the hem of affair. You're just, in quote, a best way to put it is like a servant leader. You're carrying out the order, but the responsibility of making all this work goes down to every sector. And I think one of the eyes I'll probably give to this current administration is the Freedom of Information Bill. But we also need more work in trying to sensitize Nigerians as to their rights and what they need to know and what they need to do. And of course, the unity that we all need to work together, as earlier mentioned. So if I know that I have the right to call my chairman, the chairman of my local government, to say, based on the budget that is allocated within, based on the Freedom of Information Act, to say, based on the budget that is given to our local government, these and these were the things allocated, where are they? And then know the next steps to take. Now, this is education, this is information. Does an average Nigerian know that you could do this? Now, that would take me a bit to the enforcement aspect. So there's a monitoring part, which is very big when it comes to democracy, if it will work. The monitoring aspect, then enforcement. You know, the next thing you would hear is, oh, even if I challenge the chairman of my local government, what will happen? What will come out of it, which is true. So we also, like I said, Nigeria problem is systemic, it's a whole thing. Those Nigerians, because we think it's just the non-Nigerians, let me put it this way, that are in charge of all these sectors, but we are all Nigerians. And that's where the campaign I run is when I tell you I'm a Nigerian, because if you don't start seeing this nation as yours, you will go for momentary gain that will eventually translate to future destruction of not just you, but even your children.